Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to speak on mother wounds and how they affect the divine masculine. And I understand and I do believe that of course there will be somebody that's going to need this message. So if it found you, I'm happy I can help, and I hope that it helps you perhaps to gain some more clarity. And I can assure you that no matter what, your divine masculine will overcome anything that they're dealing with. So, mother wounds. Okay, so mother wounds. So the mother wounds, what they are, they're just patterns and wounds that are caused by the type of mother that any particular divine masculine has or had as a child, or mother figure really, because it doesn't have to be a biological mother by any means. It's just a mother figure. So the way they have been raised and the way they have seen their mother and or mother figure act towards them and or others. So what maybe I can talk about what kind of situations can cause mother wounds. So they're one of the let's say mother types that causes these kind of issues and patterns within children are the helicopter mothers. So the parent that pretty much does absolutely everything for the kid. It's kind of like one of those, if you were to ever hear like a underhanded comment like, oh, the mother, I wonder if their mother kind of wiped their ass too. So basically it's a parent that is absolutely always available to the child. They're always there, either with the child or for the child, without even the child expressing the need. A mother like that kind of wants to and always will do everything to solve their problems, right? Or any kind of issues or situations that they run into. And before you sit there and think like, wait, that kind of sounds nice. Yes, to some degree, of course, there should be a parent, whether it's a mother or a father. Parents should be present in their children's life. They should be available. They should be helpful, right? But it is also extremely important to allow for children to grow by themselves, as in to learn things through their own experiences. So yes, allowing them to make mistakes, allowing them to experience even, let's say, somebody would say either like difficult situations or negative situations, because they need to learn how to handle these kind of situations as adults. And if those adults later on have kids, so that they can teach their children properly. So to some degree, absolutely. However, a helicopter mother in this case, because we're talking about mother wounds, is a mother that kind of does everything. And so what that results in a divine masculine is a divine masculine who strongly believes that any woman, so the partner that a divine masculine like that will choose, that divine masculine will believe that their partner, their romantic partner, is supposed to be just like that helicopter mother. So always be available, absolutely self-sacrificing. So he will expect his partner, so let's say in our case, a divine feminine who will always self-sacrifice, who will always be there for him, through sacrificing her own life, her own, let's say, obligations, right? Who will be like that helicopter mother who, because this is kind of the mother that, fed them, cleaned the room, like ironed their clothes, like to a kind of sick degree. So what they will expect later on is that, I'm hearing overbearing mother, because that's kind of what it is. A mother like that, this is something that I have said in another video of mine, that like imagine your divine masculine as a young child, like sitting in the room and maybe doing homework, or I don't know, drawing, or just minding their own business, and they just either want some peace or they just need some peace, right? Because they're doing their own thing, whatever it is that they're doing in their own room. And a mother like that, like a helicopter mother, like an overbearing mother, would be a mother who kind of barges in, not respecting any kind of privacy, and let's say offering food despite the dinner been like an hour ago, right? So the kid should not need food, and kind of like just forcing her own presence in that child's life, as in like there's no space. The child, the young divine masculine, will then have no space to kind of form their own personality, because everything is just a reflection of what the mother does. Later on, this kind of behavior can look like, as a mother like that will very much want to be a part of a relationship of her son or the divine masculine with their partner. So she will be very much like, oh, I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna do this for you guys. She's basically kind of taking the role of both mother and the partner in like a very overbearing way. And if, let's say, the mother figure isn't present anymore, let's say the divine masculine and partner are living on the other side of the country or in a different country, right? Or the mother passed, whatever. He's going to expect his divine feminine to be exactly that. So he's going to expect her to be at his beck and call with like no regard for her own life. He's not going to have any kind of respect or regard for her life or like her responsibilities. And if she ever kind of like says, well, I cannot do this because I have that other thing, or I have to be somewhere with work, there is going to be a pattern of comparison. That's when a lot of masculines kind of say that, well, my mother could do this, or my mother would always do this and that, which is extremely toxic. It is very unfair. You should not obviously say that to somebody, but this is like one of the patterns that a divine masculine like that will develop. He's going to kind of expect that the feminine is always going to be there even when he doesn't need her, and that she is going to kind of study him enough that she's going to anticipate his needs without him needing to tell her, which is also quite toxic, because none of us are mind readers. Yes, there's obviously telepathy between twins, but there's like, it's a toxic way of thinking. This is a karmic pattern that the divine masculine will have to then overcome. That was one of the examples. The other side of that spectrum would be a mother who is not present, who is not available, either emotionally or physically. So a divine masculine growing up with a distant mother would instead kind of grow into patterns that are something like, well, my mother isn't around, so I have to do something to earn her presence, right? If the mother is, let's say, emotionally not present, right? He is going to develop kind of patterns of either acting out, so misbehaving as a child or young adult, to get her attention so that she will be present, both kind of emotionally and physically. But he's going to try to get a reaction out of her. So he's going to try to get her to react emotionally to something he's doing. And so either it's going to be very negative or it's going to be like the opposite of it. And so the masculine will grow into being absolute perfectionist that is self-sacrificing at every turn. So he's going to learn that in order to gain his mother's presence and love and appreciation and validation, he has to be the perfect child. He has to be always, like, let's say, the perfect student, the perfect coworker, the perfect employee, right? Later on, he's going to have to be the perfect father to his own kids, and so on and so forth. So a perfectionist, but it's not just being a perfectionist, it's going to be through self-sacrifice. So that kind of divine masculine will kind of always build a life that a mother approves of, either like through directly or like through direct like communication from the mother, where a mother kind of expresses that, well, you as a man or you as a masculine should do this or that, or you as a masculine should not do this or that, or indirect. So through like hearing her being judgmental about other men and families, he's kind of going to understand what is it that she approves and doesn't approve of, and he's going to strive for it. So basically, he's going to build his identity and his life later on as an adult around what she kind of thinks. And this kind of ties to like the next kind where, or like the next type of mother, that she maybe is present. Like she can be either the helicopter mother or the one that isn't present at all, but one that is extremely judgmental, one that usually kind of sees the child as, well, I'm hearing enemy. Maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be as harsh as enemy, as an intruder, kind of like, you know, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, you know, you're just a kid. And a lot of times that is going to manifest in a mother that is very slow to approve of anything or give praise to, you know, it's always like whatever you're doing, it's not good enough, you're not doing enough, you're not working hard enough, you're not trying hard enough, or maybe you're trying hard enough but it's not good enough. And if a divine masculine grows up with that, he will definitely grow into being a perfectionist, but also people pleaser. So just recently I learned that term, which was self-sacrificing people pleaser. And people pleaser as in like, not just, oh, I'm gonna do things to make others happy. It's, I'm gonna make sure that whatever I do is not going to allow for another person to even trigger a certain emotion in them. So it's like, basically, I think I'm going to give you an example because it's going to be maybe easier to understand it this way, that a divine masculine like that is definitely going to exhibit patterns within himself and kind of build his life, yes, definitely according to what other people think. So a lot of times what the mother thinks, but also depending on who that divine masculine talks to, he's going to basically change his entire demeanor, his kind of personality. He's going to have a million masks he will kind of change himself depending on who he's interacting with. So let's say there's a divine masculine who has a built certain life that is approved by the mother, and he's working towards certain goals that are approved by the mother figure, that he's still trying to get validation from because the mother has been extremely critical of him. He still is trying to earn the love. He's still trying to earn the approval. He's still trying to win her affection, if you will. So he's going to continuously doing things and building a life according to her wishes. But at the same time, because those are really not his wishes, and those are not really the things that he himself kind of want, or maybe partially yes, but not all of it. Maybe a divine masculine like that wants more. He is going to develop like people chasing, people pleasing, seeking validation from anybody and everybody, like no matter what it is, like just a person that they met for the first time and never will meet again, or if it's like a friend or a co-worker or I don't know, like a family member. Well, obviously a family member they're gonna meet often, I suppose. So like no matter who that is, a masculine like that is going to always chase approval. They're always going to chase validation. That also of course translates to their like romantic connections, both karmic and then yours. So I apologize. So if your divine masculine kind of has gone through this and he is exhibiting these patterns, this is kind of what he did. So he's going to always try to earn everybody's approval. And to get this, he's going to basically bend over backwards. So he's going to do everything he can to get that approval. Again, it doesn't matter from whom, it doesn't matter what kind of like relation the divine masculine has to that person, and they are going to be a true chameleon. So they are going to change their personality kind of depending on the person that they're speaking with or the group of people that they are, like, let's say, hanging out with. So they may be like one person at work and another person at home. And here I want to say that, yeah, obviously we're always like kind of one way at home and another way outside of home, but that's not what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like depending on, and it's really to each person, it's not even group of people. A lot of times they will kind of portray themselves as kind of the perfect partner if they find the person attractive, and if they don't find the person attractive, they will kind of portray themselves as like the perfect person in their current situation, because obviously that's going to be different for everybody, but they're gonna kind of pretend to be that perfect male specimen in society, right? And because of their need for validation, they're going to self-sacrifice a lot. They're going to put other people's needs before his own, before their own. They're going to basically try to please and appease everybody. And a lot of times, especially when it comes to like situations that will be more heated, whether like with no matter who that divine masculine is interacting with currently, they're going to try to diffuse situation before any situation can escalate. So basically there will be an avoidant. There are also mothers that see their sons, because let me just say like this, that it doesn't necessarily have to be, but let's say the mothers who see their child, that is the divine masculine, as a surrogate for their own partner, which means in like, let's say in the 3D, that a mother like that would put emotional burdens on a child that is way too young and absolutely incapable of dealing and providing the mother with the kind of support that she needs. So a mother like that is going to kind of burden the child with, let's say, their living situation. Maybe the money is too short, maybe her upbringing was difficult, maybe, let's say, the family dynamic, however it looks like, is very difficult for her, so she kind of will burden the child with that, her own emotional burdens. And she, obviously, it's extremely inappropriate to do that to a child, because no child is really equipped to shoulder that kind of burdens, like emotional or physical burdens of their parents, and no child really should experience that. But we that are on this journey will a lot of times choose to experience that, because, well, that's just part of the journey, right? I'm not going to get into this, but it's kind of what it's going to be. A lot of times the divine masculine will then grow into like a weird combination of son or a child / partner to that mother, because they will believe, or there has been instilled within them a belief that their responsibility is to care for their mother like a partner would, because this is kind of what she taught that divine masculine. And that behavior later on manifests in a connection, or not just between the divine masculine and his feminine, but even in karmic connections, as a masculine who is emotionally unavailable and or very absent to their partner, because they feel that their responsibility lies with their mother, because they feel that if I disappear, if I focus on my own partner and my own life, then my mother is going to collapse, or that she's going to die because, there's so much toxic shit. And basically the mother kind of taught the child that she has it so difficult, and maybe she did, it's not that, but it's kind of, the child will believe that it's their responsibility to shoulder that responsibility of keeping their mother or happy, if you will, and like emotionally cared for and protected. And it, again, none of the things that I'm talking about are necessarily negative, right? Because obviously you should care for your parents or parent figures, and you should care about other people. You should help if you're capable of helping. But at the same time, of course, I'm talking to a certain degree. You should never ever burden your child with the problems that you have, because they are a child. So because these mother wounds are so prominent in the divine masculine collective, and a lot of times we as divine feminines kind of, we see basically practically right away that our divine masculine is exhibiting some of these traits and these patterns. If not, like, we see right through them. Like personally, I myself saw right through my divine masculine, and it's probably like this for every other divine feminine. I saw these patterns right away. It's just that I was not made aware of, let's say, as many details at that time in the beginning, so I maybe didn't know the extent of the mother wounds that my divine masculine has carried within himself. So a lot of that upbringing, and so a lot of these mother wounds have shaped our divine masculines, and they are influencing how the divine masculine basically live their life. Because it's not just about relationship. Take a person that, a masculine, like from the beginning, when I was talking about a helicopter mother, a masculine like this kind of grows up believing that any feminine, let me just say like this, so any divine feminine or a karmic feminine coming into their life is going to be their mother as well. So those are the masculines who kind of, whether they are in a relationship or like even in a workplace, they believe that they kind of don't have to do anything besides the bare minimum that, let's say, they are paid to, if we're talking about a work situation, because other people are going to take care of everything else. Those kind of masculines in like, let's say, romantic relationships or family settings, those are the masculines who kind of believe that what they have to do is work, so bring money into the home, and then that their home will be cleaned already because their mother did that, that the food will be cooked, the laundry will be done, any kind of like upkeep is going to be done because the mother did that. And so they kind of believe that their partner or their family, let's say, is going to do that because the masculine only ever needed to do the bare minimum. And so as an adult, they are doing the bare minimum and expecting others to kind of fill that space of what they are actually supposed to do. So take care of their own homes, right? Help their partners, take care of their own laundry, doing chores. Like, this is just a stupid example, but it has to do with everything. Any area of life is like this. Even like going to like a store, and this is something like from my own experience at work. There are clients coming in and expecting that they don't need to do anything and everything is going to be served to them. And yes, partially it's going to be served to them, but there's some work, if you will, that is required from them in order, let's say, for me as the person that is servicing them to provide what they are like, what they're looking for. But people like that as adults will just have absolutely no idea. They a lot of times kind of look at me and people around like idiots, like, what the hell do you mean that I have to do anything? Here I am, fix this. And like, this is a very good example of like a real life, well, not a real life, but like the 3D example of kind of like, hey, here I am, fix this for me, with like no empathy, no understanding, because this is kind of what it is. There's no understanding within them that there's some work required from them in order for them to get what they want, because the mother has been so overbearing and so overreaching that she has always done everything for the kid. So there's like a lot of examples like this. You know, a distant mother. So if a child needed to, like, let's say, earn the mother's time or affection or validation, like people like that. So the divine masculines like this, they go through their lives basically living their own life for others, even if those people are not necessarily like a constant part of their life, because within them there's instilled this need for validation. They have never received validation. They have never received affection just because. They have never been seen. They always had to earn everything. So any morsel of affection or validation or being seen, being acknowledged, those people will live their life and sacrifice so much of their own time and money and health for others, just for bare minimum, even for scraps of attention or validation. And they sacrifice so much of their life and energy and time and money and you name it, that they basically never live their life for themselves. It's always for others. It's always, oh, I'm gonna do this because I know that this is gonna make somebody else happy, and if they're happy, they are maybe going to give me validation. They maybe give me some attention or affection or intimacy or whatever else. Divine masculines who grew up with kind of in that position of child slash partner to their mother, they grow up extremely distant to everybody. They really truly believe that their like sole reason for existence is to cater to the mother. And because of that, their relationship, their career, their well, maybe career not necessarily, but a lot of time relationships, even friendships, are going to suffer because these masculines really live with the kind of burden that, oh, if I don't make my mother happy, she's never going to be happy. And of course, none of us are bad people. Like, none of us are evil. Let me just put it out there. For us that are on this journey, we were born with really pure, big hearts, and none of us have really meant any evil to anybody. Yes, we have made mistakes. Yes, we may have hurt other people, knowingly, unknowingly, it doesn't matter. But for somebody to grow up who has a very pure heart, who is intelligent and wise enough, even as a child, to understand that, oh, my mother, if I don't become that like support for her, emotional and physical, she is going to collapse. And I don't want to let that happen because she's my mother, because I love her. Like, how could I disappoint her? How could I leave her? And that is just really sad. It's a lot of it, like a lot of these things, like no matter what your specific divine masculine has grown up with, no matter what it is, it's really heartbreaking to realize that all the divine masculine has ever really did in their life, up to the moment they met you, because let me put a stop there, that up to the moment they met you, they have done what they can to get any kind of true attention, affection, validation, support, and presence. And I say attention. Attention is obviously not care, it's not connection to another person, but it doesn't matter, because what the divine masculine is used to is really breadcrumbs. The mother, people in their life, because the divine masculine kind of acts in this way, because this is kind of what he's used to, the mother would give him like small breadcrumbs of affection or presence or support or validation. They kind of believe that this is all that they can get. And so in the future, like when they grow up and when they start having their own relationships, or even during friendships or at school, at work later on, they teach people how to treat them. So they teach people to really only give them like small breadcrumbs of whatever it is that they're seeking, let's say validation or attention or intimacy. They believe really that this is all that they deserve. This is why so many, all of them, every single divine masculine believes and carries really that wound of unworthiness. They believe that they don't deserve more because they have never received more. And there's something else that I want to kind of say to switch a perspective on it, because it's really sad. It's really heartbreaking. Now imagine that this is what you yourself grow up with, and maybe you have that, and you believe that this is all you can get, that there's just nothing better. People will never ever give me anything unless I bend over backwards, unless I kill myself working, providing for the family, and or whatever, right? Imagine meeting the divine feminine. And we, as the divine feminine, we have, in the moment of the meeting and during the period of time that you and your divine masculine have been connecting, you have been embodying the unconditional love from the beginning. Even if you were very much unhealed, even if there was a lot of patterns within you that you had to heal and overcome, you have been such a otherworldly side to them, it was such a big I don't have a word. It was such a big you are so different to everybody in their reality, because here you are embodying kindness and selflessness and gentleness, and you are freely giving your unconditional love, your support, your presence, right? It's not that you give them attention, it's just that you're present with them no matter what they do, even if they say something stupid, even if they, let's say, have made a mistake, or maybe they perceive it as a mistake, or maybe even if you think that it's a mistake. You have only given them support that has been unconditional. Your love and your presence and your acceptance of who they are, even as an unhealed version of themselves, has been so different to what they have lived through up to the moment they met you, that it is absolutely earth-shaking. And like, I'm not gonna get into this now, but just kind of fast forward to the moment where the reality kind of hits them, when they realize that, because before meeting their divine feminine, they kind of believe that this is all that the life is, right? So people always trying to use them having to self-sacrifice a lot and kill themselves at work and lose their health over things and for other people, right? To provide, to be, to do, and they are never truly appreciated for that. And so imagine the reality check, the slap in the face that they get when they realize that, wow, the divine feminine, she has not been lying. Like, this has not been a big deception, because that's kind of what they do. The divine masculine kind of believes that the divine feminine is being deceitful, that is lying and manipulating them. Of course we don't, because why would we do that? But they don't know that. And a lot of times, if they're asking, let's say, people in their external reality, so in the 3D, like, listen, I've met this person and she's so kind, I have never met anybody like that, and maybe like this, and maybe they're talking about you or telling other people about you. These other people, because they're part of their old reality, they're telling them that you're probably the most evil person, because you pretend to be this kind and you're really trying to, I don't know, stab them in the back, or use them in some way, maybe use them for money, right? Or yeah, whatever it may be. But they believe that. And later on comes a moment when they realize, like, well, the divine feminine, she has always been a certain way, and even if I believed before that she has been lying, she cannot continue lying so much, because I have seen the divine feminine lose many times because she was kind, because she was not willing to use other people to her advancement, because she has lost so many times because she chose to be kind, because she chose not to use other people. And then the realization what kind of people that they have grown up with, so their childhood home, the people that they have been in relationships with, the people that they have called friends, like, right, and closed ones. And this is just absolutely heartbreaking. So have compassion for your divine masculine, because it is really horrible to be in the situation, and you may have gone through similar things. You probably have, so you understand how it is. But it is enough that they have been lost all their lives. I promise you right now, they, despite all of these issues, all of these mother wounds and probably father wounds and other things, right? Even the things that they collectively carry within themselves, they're overcoming it. But be kind, because they just have never taught to be better. They have never understood how to handle you, divine feminine, when you came with love, with acceptance, with grace and forgiveness for who they are and their mistakes and their decisions. So thank you so much for listening. I really hope that it helped you. Maybe it has shed some light to your situation. And yeah, I will speak to you another time. Bye.